students. Myself Prema. Today I am going to take a lecture on history, standard 10th. So the first lesson in history that we are having, that is historiography, development in the West. Now before starting the topic, children, I am going to tell you that this year history that we are going to study, it is totally different from the history that we have studied till now, because it is not concerned with any of the period or event. For example, last year in 9th standard you have studied about the history. So that history we have studied about India, that is from 1960 to 2000. About India we have studied. But this year in history we are not going to study about any of the period of events, but we are going to study about historiography. Now you may have the question that what do you mean by historiography? So children, before starting with the topic historiography, I am going to ask you one question. What do you mean by history? Quickly you are going to give the answer that history means study of the past events. History, it is the study of the past events and the interconnection of the events that has taken place. That we are studying in history. Now again one question is going to come in mind. We are studying about the past events. But these past events, when they have taken place, we were not present at that time. Then how we are studying about the past events? From where we are studying? We are getting the information about the past events. So for studying that, we are referring the different types of sources. Whichever the sources of history are there, from there we are getting the informations. Now again in 9th standard we are having the first lesson, that is sources of history. In that we have studied about the different sources, material sources, written sources, oral sources. All those were the modern sources of history. So with the help of that sources we are knowing about the history. But here, so past events we were not present, then how we can study? And moreover, one thing is that history is not empirical. Empirical means subjects that are studied by doing experiments. For example, we can take here science subject. Now when in the science period, teachers, they are taking you into the laboratory and there you are performing different types of experiments. Now while doing the experiments, you are getting the formulas. Whichever the formulas are established, so that formulas, they are going to be same irrespective of time and place. Means whenever you are going to perform, the result will be the same. There will be no changes in the formula. But that thing, it is not possible in history. For here we can take one example of science, that is carbon dioxide when dissolves in water, carbonic acid is formed. So this experiment, whenever you are going to do, the result will be same. There will be no changes in that. But the same thing cannot be done in history. For here we can, about the First World War, we can take example. Now if I am going to tell you, children, come on, get up, we are going into the lab and we are going to study First World War. Is it possible to study First World War in the laboratory? No, it is not possible, because one important thing is that historical events cannot be recreated. They can't be recreated. So the result here we can't study. We have to study it from the different sources, whatever we are having. So to begin with the history, regarding the history here, first thing is that whenever we are going to study about the history, so first is we have to know about the authenticity of the historical documents. So for that purpose, for checking the authenticity of the documents, authenticity means originality, whether it is real or not, true or not. For that purpose, we should know. We should be able to guess whether it is real or not. Here also we can take an example. If you are going to get a letter from Shivaji Maharaj, someone is going to come and give a letter of Shivaji Maharaj. Now immediately you are not going to do that you are going to take that letter afterwards and start writing the history. No, you can't do that. First you have to find out whether it is real or not, whether in reality it has been written by Shivaji Maharaj or not. Then only you can make use of that. Next thing is that in the study of history, an expert is needed. An expert is necessary. Why? So that that person, he can study the language and the script that has been used in history. Because in history, at that time, whatever the language and the script was used, so it is totally different from today's period. Here we can take the example, that is the medieval period, ancient period. The language, the script was totally different from today's period. So for that purpose, what is necessary? Expert is necessary. Expert, he can read the inscriptions and all. He can tell whether it is real or not. Along with that, the lettering style that has been used, of which period, whether it's of ancient period or that is medieval period. Along with that, to which empire it may be belonging, whether it is belonging to the Maurya Empire, Gupta Empire, or any other. So all that we can come to know. And in the last, afterwards, after doing that, the documents which are there, it has to be scrutinized, that is verified. Now how we can verify the documents? It can be verified with the help of the other reference books, other books which are written. By using that, we can verify the documents. Now students, we are going to study about the branches of history. History has many branches or disciplines, and these disciplines, they play a very important role in history research. So now we are going to have a look on branches of history which help in history research. Now in that, first we are having formulating hypothesis. Hypothesis means assumptions. It is just like assumptions. So here first, while writing history, we are going to assume something for writing that, and after that, whatever the assumptions are there, so for proving that assumptions, I need some documents. So I have to collect the documents, and later on I have to verify with that. So that whatever I am going to speak about history, it should be correct. So by comparing with that, I can prove that my assumption is correct. If the assumption is proved, then only it can be used in history. Second is critically examining of various sources of history. Now for doing the critical examination, so here different books or sources we are having. So we have to study that books and do the critical that is examination of that. For example, here whatever the old sources we are having, like stone inscriptions are there, letters are there, we have to check that inscriptions and letters with the new documents that we are having, whether that documents that we are having, that is correct or not. Next is historical research method, examining relevant references of the available historical informations. Here we can take one example. Already we have studied one example, that if I am going to get a letter of Shivaji Maharaj, how I will prove that it is written by Shivaji Maharaj. So here what I am going to do, whatever the information, sources, letters of that time I am having, I am going to compare it with the informations that already I am having, and if the information is correct, that I am going to prove. So I can tell that the letter is correct. Then only it can be used as a new information. And if I found that if the letter is not correct, then the information will not be presented. Next is collecting historical informations, highlighting the process that leads to historical transitions, carrying out comparative analysis. So here, after collecting, means whatever the informations we are having, we are collecting that information we are collecting, we are going to highlight the reasons because of which the transition that has taken place or occurred. Transition means here the changes that has occurred. Here we can take one example of India's independence, that is of the Congress. Congress during that time is split into two, that is moderates and extremists. Now what was the reason for the split of the Congress? That is because of the difference in the opinion, difference in the thinking of both moderates and extremists. Moderates, they believed that what British people, they are going to fulfill their demands by the petitions they are going to file. But here extremists, they were not ready for that. They believed in armed revolt, means by pressurizing the British government by the armed revolt only they can get their demands fulfilled. So as a result, here we can tell that because of the difference in the thinking of Congress, split has occurred. So here we find that the reason for the historical transition is that in the difference of the thinking. Next is understanding the references regarding time and space given historical events, and also various conceptual framework used in historical research. So here what we can do, whatever the informations we are having or whatever the historical events that has happened, or whatever the new historical research method we are having, we have to prepare a conceptual framework for that, and by using that conceptual framework we can do the historical research. And next, last one is here, that is relevant questions in view of the historical references. So here, suppose I am doing a new research. So how can I prove my research it is correct or not? So for doing that purpose, what I can do, on the topic which I am going to do the research on, that I am going to ask the questions on that topic from different angles, and if I'm going to get the answers for that research, I can prove that my research is correct and the information will be correct. But if I'm not going to get all the answers correct from all the angles, it means that my research is not correct. Now students, we are going to study about the methods of various disciplines which are useful in historical research. So in historical research, different scientific way are used to study history, and that first one is archaeology. Archaeology means study of past historical things. Here we can take the example of earthen pots, fossils, etc. The old things that are studied. Second one is archival science. It means historical documents that are stored in library or museum. Example, letter, government documents. Third one is manuscriptology. Manuscriptology means books that are handwritten, old manuscripts written with hands. Next one is epigraphy. Epigraphy means study of inscriptions. Now these inscriptions, it can be that is images that are drawn on the walls or on the stones. Next is analysis of lettering style. Now analysis of lettering style means which time this lettering style was there. Linguistics. Linguistics means study of language. Next is numismatics. Numismatic means study of coins. Next is genealogy. Genealogy means family history, study of lineage of, it can be of big rulers, famous peoples, industries or common people. So students, before ending the lecture today, I am going to conclude the topic today we have discussed regarding history research. So we have discussed about why laws cannot be formulated in history, so as historical events cannot be recreated. For that I have given you some examples. So because of that, means through that we can come to know that these things cannot be repeated. Moreover, we have discussed about why experts are necessary in history and the role they play in history research. Along with that, we have also discussed about methods of historical research. So students, hope you have understood the chapter. Now students, I am going to give you an assignment and you have to write on that. So first one is role of expert in historical research, and the second one is what are the methods of historical research. Students, after having learning about sources and methods of historical research, now we are going to study about historiography. Tradition of historiography. Tradition of historiography means how this tradition of historiography started, modern historiography that is. So we have learned about the historical research method, critically examining the historical sources and writing the historical narrative. So children, it means that whatever the historical sources we are having, we started doing the critical examination of that. Now this examination we have done by asking questions in both the way, whether it is right or whether it is wrong, and afterwards we will come to know whether it is right or wrong. So it means that we are doing the critical analysis of the sources, and after doing the research we are going to write the narrative. Narrative means here means whatever the observation we are getting, that we are going to write. The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. So what do you mean by historiography? The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. After doing all the observations, critical examinations of the narrative I am going to write after doing all the research is called as historiography. So in the exam, student, you may get the question that is what is meant by historiography. So the answer will be the writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography. Now, a scholar who writes such narrative is known as historian. The historian cannot include every past event in his narrative. So the inclusion and interpretation of historical events by the historian often depend on the conceptual framework adopted by him. Here students, each and every historians, they are having their own conceptual framework, their own way of thinking. See, if I am studying about some events, I will be getting the historical documents on that. Now here I am going to give an example. Suppose I am studying about India's history and I want to study about India's history after 1942. And the book I am having, it is going to include the events from 1857 to 1947. 1857 to 1947. And I want to study about only 5 years. So I will take only that much documents. So I have to do inclusive study of that. So how much information I want, I will write and give that much information. So same method is followed by the historians. They are not studying all the entire data that is available. They are studying in limited quantity. So this is called as the inclusive or exclusion of the data. Now his style of writing is determined by that conceptual framework. Now students, each and every historians, they are having their own style of writing and it is depending upon their conceptual framework, that this is my thinking. In this way I am going to write the history. So in the same way, each and every historians, they are having their own style of thinking and writing. Now there are some historians who are against something, so their ideology will also be different. For example, some historians in India, they think about the British government was good. Some British historians, they thought that their British rule was good for India. And the history we write, we show that the British were not good for India. Why? Because that is our conceptual framework. That conceptual framework will be different from other historians. We will write history in that way. Now students, we are going to have a look on the traditional way of writing history. Now children, in the ancient times, historians, they were not doing the critical analysis. But it doesn't mean that they were not aware of history. They were aware of history. So they were studying history, but their method was different. So the method that they used to follow was, they used to pass the stories of the life and valor. Valor means courage of their ancestors to the next generation. Ancient communities all over the world used various means like cave painting, storytelling method was there, singing songs and ballads. Ballads means poem, etc. All this information means all these methods were followed to pass the information from one generation to other. Now these tradition means are looked upon as the sources of history in the modern historiography. So that is the storytelling methods, ballads, along with that cave paintings, all that are the sources of history that is used in modern historiography. Now students, we are going to study about the modern historiography. The 4 main characteristics of modern historiography. First is, its method is based on scientific principles. It begins with the formation of relevant questions. So it means that raising questions or asking questions that are connected with the documents what is to be discussed. Whatever we are going to discuss, based on that we have to ask different types of questions. Second one is, the questions should be anthropocentric. That is, it means that about the human activities or the human deeds. So it means that these questions are about the deeds of the members of ancient human societies of a particular period. Whatever the work that has been done by the members of ancient period. History does not suggest any interrelation between the divine and human deeds, between the divine, that is God, and the human activities that is done. Third one is, answer to this question should be supported by reliable evidences. Evidences means proof. That whatever means these evidences, how we can suggest with the help of reference books or the any other sources that we are going to refer. And the next one is, history presents a graph of the mankind's journey with the help of past human deeds. That is, finding out the answers and writing the history is the history of mankind. The modern historiography has its roots in the ancient Greek historical writing. History is originally a Greek term. Herodotus, the Greek historian of the 5th century BC, used it for his book, The Histories. Herodotus is known as the father of history. In 1737 century, the Göttingen University was founded in Germany. This university for the first time had an independent department of history. Later, other German universities also became centers of historical studies. Students, now we are going to study about the contribution of scholars in the development of historiography. First one, we are going to study about René Descartes. Now he was born in 1596. He died in 1650. Now he insisted on verifying the reliability of historical documents by critically examining them. So he told that whatever information we are getting, we should not accept it blindly, but we should do the critical examination of that till all the doubts regarding the information that we are studying is excluded and it is cleared. And this we can do by asking questions based on the topic what we are studying. On that topic we can ask different types of questions, and when we are going to get all the answers, so then only we have to believe on that information. He wrote the book that is Discourse on the Method. Voltaire, he was born in 1694 and died in 1778. His original name was Francisco Marie Arnaud. He was French. Now he stated opinion that with the objective truth and chronology of historical events, considering social traditions, trade, economy, agriculture was also equally important in historiography. So according to him, we should not only study about the chronology, that is the linkage of the events one after one another, but along with that we have to study about the life of the people. We should study history from all the angles, that is from all aspects of human life. Because of that, he is called as the founder of modern historiography. Next, George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. He was born in 1770 and died in 1831. Hegel was a German philosopher. Now, he insisted that whatever information we are presenting, it should be presented in a logical manner, means it should be based on some meaning. He thought that the presentation of history is bound to change over time as new evidence will come forth. It means that whatever historical documents today we are presenting, it cannot be 100% correct. Because if someone is going to do the research on that document, he may prove it wrong. It means that whatever we are telling, it will change with time as new evidences may come. His collections of lectures and articles is published in a book, Encyclopedia of Philosophical Science. So students, today we have discussed about modern historiography and about some notable scholars. Hope you have understood the chapter. Now students, today's assignment is, which are the 4 main characteristics of modern historiography, and second is, why Voltaire is said to be the founder of modern historiography. So students, now we are going to study about method of analyzing history through Dialects by Hegel. So according to Hegel, every event has two sides, good or bad, true or false. So whenever we are going to study about an event, we should study in both the way, by positive way and negative way, in positive and negative thinking. Questions should be asked in both the way, so that we can prove whether it is correct or not. So the method of analysis which is based on opposites is known as dialectics. The theory proposed at the beginning is called thesis, that is, it is including positive assumptions. The another theory which is proposed is contrary to the thesis. It is called as antithesis. After studying both the theory in a logical way, we come to a conclusion which includes the gist of both thesis and antithesis is called synthesis. Leopold Rankin. Now he was born in 1795 and he died in 1886. Now he spoke about the critical method of historical research, that is doing critical analysis. He put emphasis on the utmost importance of information gathered through original documents. That is, we should give importance to the original documents, and whatever documents are linked with historical events should be critically examined by the historian. So Hegel believed that by this method we can reach the historical truth. He criticized imaginative narration of history. It means that we should not imagine the things may happen. We should prove it. Collection of his articles is published in two books, The Theory and Practice of History and The Secret of World History. Now students, we are going to study about Karl Marx. Karl Marx, he was born in 1880 and he died in 1883. He is one of the most important philosophers who changed the thinking of mankind. Now according to Karl Marx, if we want to study about history of any country, then we have to study the life of the people. That is, how many people are rich, how many people are poor, or how much percent of people own the means of production. Now according to Karl Marx, history is not about abstract ideas, but it is about living people. It is not about events that happened in the past, but it is the study of living people. Now according to him, history is the study of class struggle. So according to Karl Marx, in a society, two groups of people are there, haves and haves not. Haves means capitalists, haves not means workers. The group that owns the means of production are coming under haves, and who does not own the means of production are coming under haves not. So haves exploited haves not. Now children, why this relation was like that? Because the haves had the means of production and they wanted more wealth, and haves not, they wanted to survive. So they have to work for the haves. So Karl Marx said that human relationships are shaped by the fundamental needs of people and the ownership of the means of production. The important book written by Karl Marx is Das Kapital. Next is Annales School. Now Annales School gave a new direction to history writing. This school was started by French historians. It recognized that history is not about king, great leaders, political events, politics, diplomacy and war, but it is also about climate, local people, agriculture, trade, technology, means of communication, social divisions and their collective psychology. So students, this school followed the Voltaire's ideology that not to study about king, political events, but all aspects should be included in the study of history. Now next we are going to study about feminist historiography. Feminist historiography means restructuring, that is reconsidering history from women's perspective viewpoint. Now in the past children, history was written from the male dominated perspective, that is from their point of view. Now Simone de Beauvoir helped in establishing the fundamental of feminism. She was from France. Now this group not only thought that women should be included in history, but male-centric domination has to be changed and female should be given place. So various aspects of women life was included in historical research, such as we can take employment, their role in trade union, institutions working for their cause, their family life. All these things were included in history. Now we can take the example about India. In India, because of the efforts of Mahatma Phule, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Rajaram Mohan Rai, we came to know about the life of women. Now next we are going to study about Michael Foucault. Now he was born in 1926 and died in 1984. Michael Foucault gave a new concept in historiography. Now earlier students, we have studied history in chronological order, that events one after the other. Now according to him, it was not right. He drew attention to the fact that archaeology does not strive to reach the ultimate historical truth. Now student, archaeology means we all know study of the past thing, that is it may be coins, earthen pots, etc. So he thought that though we are going to study this, but they are not going to give the exact information. So just they are not helping us to get the reach the truth, but it explains the various changes in the past. So Foucault felt that explaining the transition in history is more important, that is explaining the reasons. So why these changes occurred is more important. So only studying the events in sequence is not right, but the reasons are more important. So his method is called as archaeology of knowledge. So students, in this chapter we have studied about what is historiography, the four main characteristics of modern historiography. Along with that, we learned about many scholars and their contribution in the development of historiography. So in that first one, René Descartes, about him we have studied. He insisted on verifying the reliability of historical documents by critically examining them. Second, about Voltaire we have studied. Voltaire thought that understanding all aspects of human life is more important for history writing. Third, we have studied about George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. He insisted that historical reality should be presented in a logical manner. Fourth, we have studied about Leopold von Ranke. He criticized the imaginative narration of history. Fifth, we have studied about Karl Marx. According to history history is the study of class struggle. Sixth, we have studied about Michael Foucault. He explained the transition in history is more important rather than studying history in a chronological order. So students, hope we have understood the chapter. Now the assignment for you is, first one is explain Karl Marx class theory, and second one is what is historiography. Thank you.